Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of HPCritical Podcast, where my friends and I talk all things gaming. I'm Joel, and I'm joined by Brandon, Gabe, and Kelly. Guys, it's been a very long time since you've probably seen all four of us together. So I'm going to start the show with a few announcements and then see what these lovely people have been up to. Actually, let's see what you guys have been up to first. Anybody been playing anything interesting lately that they want to talk about a little bit?
Yeah, I've been obsessed with.
I'm sorry, Brandon. Why did you just throw your eyes, Gabe?
I wasn't rolling. I was thinking. I was like, "What games?"
Okay. Okay.
I was gonna say I've been kind of hooked on that triangle strategy demo. So I've been talking with our fellow writer Dylan about it. Back and forth, both on the triangle strategy chat and elsewhere. And the main criticism that I think a lot of people have with now that we have like a look at the first 3 chapters of the full game containing the demo, that game does be talking a lot. Like there's actually only like 3 story missions and a lot of dialogue. Now, I will say I personally don't mind because the story is like really resonating with me so far, but I can't ignore the fact that there is a lot of talking. And if that you're not prepared for that and you just want to do some strategy, it's a demo, right? It's telling you if you enjoy the game. And if you're going in expecting like gameplay and you're just getting a whole bunch of story before you've even like committed to making the purchase, it could be. I could see it like turning some people off. As a preview before the game actually comes out, it's great. As a demo, letting you know if you want to actually play the full game or not, it could be a lot better. That being said, I still have played through the entirety of the demo, all 3 chapters, and then I even made like a second save file before the big choice. So I could also see what the other option was. So there was that. So when I actually get the full game, I'm gonna just continue with the first choice I made and not do all this back and forth. I did it just because. Yeah, I'm not gonna be doing it because then I'll never finish the game. If I'm like going back on every single major decision, it's just not feasible. But I just said, all I got is 3 chapters, so what the hell? I'll make one alternate choice to see what happens, and then commit to my choices from then on in. Yeah, it's been that. Final Fantasy 12, Legends Arceus, which I have decided that for Pokemon Legends Arceus that I'm gonna treat it pretty much like how I did Breath of the Wild, where I'm not gonna like beeline the story because that is just a game where you just explore and discover new things, new Pokemon. So you know what? I'm obviously not gonna be looking for spoilers, but if one smacks me in the face while I'm just like, oh damn, oh well, it is what it is. I just want to enjoy the game on my own pace. I'll finish it when I finish it. That's pretty much been my rotation of 3.
All right, well, I'll go next. I've played absolutely nothing because I've been too busy. Anybody else?
Smash Bros. That's about it, really.
I
lied. I actually downloaded Cyberpunk 2077 for my PC.
Oh, nice.
Because it was 50% off.
How is it doing now?
I mean, pretty damn good. I'm not even gonna lie. But I guess it's because I have it on PC and not on a console. That's why I was like, might as well just buy it. It's 50% off.
Well, I mean, I know people who have it on console who've also been having a pretty good time. Nice. I downloaded the PS5 upgrade. I just haven't played it because life.
It's a big game.
Really busy right now.
Life is really busy right now.
Kelly, I'm so sad you haven't been able to play anything.
No, not for like a few weeks. I haven't played anything, like nothing at all.
I completely understand because we are in the same boat. So, like I mentioned at the top of the show, we do have a few announcements. One of them is that eminently, very, very soon, like next month-ish, HPCritical is going to have a brand new site layout. It's going to be really awesome. You might see our faces a little bit more, which is super exciting. Yeah, it's going to be the same domain name, so it's still going to be hpcritical.com, but everything's going to look shiny and new and wonderful and animated and really cool. And it's going to be dark mode preview spoilers because, eyes can't stand all the light mode that we've got now on the old website. So definitely look forward to that coming next month at some point. We're also doing a lot of curated content for games that are coming out. So continue to check out hpcritical.com for all of that wonderful stuff. Also, this is the first time we're recording in February together, so happy Black History Month to everybody who's listening. I know that it's like the end of Black History Month, but there it is. I was able to get it out. Also, there's a ton of stuff going on in the world right now. With as we're speaking, Russia invading Ukraine, and so HP Critical is joining charity gamers at some point in the future. We don't know exactly when yet, but it's going to happen. We're joining charity gamers with Project Hope to raise funds for the Ukraine crisis. So definitely check out our socials to look for when we're going to be raising money for that. It'll be at some point when we know what's going on. So yeah, that's just an early preview of what's going to happen. And I think that's all the announcements I have for HP Critical currently. Are any of you working on any projects you want to talk about quickly? Individually? No. We're all just working for the man 24/7 and not being
more or less. I can also tease that with our new website redesign, I have a lot of cool ideas for guides, so you guys can look forward to that. And it is the 5th anniversary of the Switch coming up, or Switchmas I like to call it. So there might be a feature with that as well. So some cool website
the 5th
stuff.
Anniversary of Breath of the Wild, but Nintendo will pass over that again.
Yeah, that they will.
They're gonna do. Oh man, I was gonna make a joke about Horizon, but whatever. I'm too tired. So speaking of, I just want to, now that we've done that, we're going to talk about a few light topics in the news recently, and then we're going to let this bad boy go because I think we all deserve a break. Yes.
Yeah.
Not that we haven't had one. We've had a long one, but we're still recuperating.
I was just going to say, we're obviously recording this on Thursday like we always do. This Monday, for whatever reason, had just like a whole bunch of like game announcements of different things. I'm like, yo, who told the game industry collectively, yo, you should announce things all on the same day? I was like, what's going on? There's so much.
Not even that, like this just the next couple of months are crazy. We got Horizon Forbidden West that came out. We got Dying Light 2 that came out. Elden Ring is officially released tomorrow. Triangle Strategy is coming soon. I'm sure there are other big titles that I'm not thinking about that are also on the way, and there's just too many games and not enough time. I'm very sad. This is the first time that I don't have every new game that's coming out just sitting on my shelf in my backlog. I haven't even bought it. I haven't even gone to the store, which is crazy. I usually like just do a pre-order at GameStop and get whatever the fuck the pre-order shit is, but oh my god, get whatever the heck the pre-order thing is. But I haven't even done that. I don't have any. I'm still playing Pokemon. It's like, I know. I think I'm gonna break that streak and play Elden Ring tomorrow, just because I've only seen that it's supposedly really amazing, like 10 out of 10s, like freaking everywhere. So maybe I'll
many 10 out of 10s. It's actually nuts.
Maybe I'll break my streak and play some Elden Ring. Actually, so I'll ask you guys, because Brandon has brought this topic up to me before, and it's probably something you'll see on HPCritical.com. But I'm gonna ask you guys first a question that Brandon asked me, which is, what will allow you to skip your backlog to play a new game? Like, what's something in a new game that would make you drop everything in your backlog to run out and play it? That was the question, right, Brandon?
That was a question, like basically how I phrased it to Jarrell. And yeah, there will be a feature of this coming up in the future. But essentially, every time like games come out of the year, people are like, oh, I'm interested in this, and that. But I wanted to get like to the heart of the matter and basically be like, you're excited for a given game, right? But we only have so much time in our day. And sometimes a game will come out and we're like, we want to play it, but we don't have time to. So the specific question that I had posed was, what's a game that you are so excited for, like the main ones, that you don't give a fuck what you're playing on the backlog? You're just gonna like get to that immediately.
You mean you don't give a heck what you're playing?
I said what I said.
That you did.
Indeed. So yeah, I could say mine's real quick, because I currently have 4, though I don't know if 2 of them are actually coming out this year. I'll say those 2 first then. The latter 2 is Breath of the Wild, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, and Final Fantasy 16. Once those are out, everything else will get dropped summarily. The other 2 that I do know are coming out this year that I will drop everything in the backlog to play will be Triangle Strategy for sure. And the other one is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. on that note, I do need to get going on that third route of 3 houses this year before that comes out. But until then,
because you got one more route after that.
Well, yeah, but without going into details, I'm going to make a save point in a certain place to save myself a lot of time.
Like a smart man. That's what I
did. Yeah, that'll be the play. But yeah, those are my 4. I don't know if anyone else has a ready answer to this.
You didn't even say why.
Oh, sure. I can elaborate.
Like, the actual question that I posed was what game is it and why is it? Like, what about that game would make you drop everything else?
I apologize. I didn't hear the why part.
Pick one big one that you really want to skip everything for and tell me why it is that it's worth it for you.
Okay. I won't pick Triangle Strategy because I kind of already talked about it in the demo. So instead, I guess I'll talk about the sequel to the Breath of the Wild. That game, when they originally came out, I played it like nonstop for the first few months, but I didn't actually finish it right away. Like I did take a few months break and then went back to it because it was that kind of game that I enjoyed chipping away a little bit at a time because this world was just so big and, the story was like very well spread out, that the exploration was the thing that I cared about more. If the sequel is going to just have a lot more of that and more environments and just like weapons and what have you, I mean, I'm here for that, man. I enjoyed that game so much. And so I will just enjoy my trip through that. And now that I'm talking through it, my why, it's going to be a bit contradictory because yes, I will be dropping everything else in my backlog to play it, but there's a very low chance that I'll be like doing the entirety story when I just like drop everything else. I will probably play consistently for 2 months, take a big ass break, and then go back and then finish the story. That's probably how that's going to go down, if I'm being perfectly honest. And that'll be fine.
There are 2 games for me, I think. And they're going to be Redfall and Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Any game that makes me cry is one that I love, and I cried multiple times in Final Fantasy VII. Oh, and the other one is Forspoken as well. So any game that makes me cry is one that I want to continue, and I've really loved the Final Fantasy series, and I adored what they did with the remake. I thought it was freaking awesome. I don't care what anybody says, one of the best games ever made. And when part 2 comes out, I don't give a fuck what I'm doing. I will drop everything. I'll drop the baby if I have to. You better just sit down and freaking get ready to play, or else he's going on.
Kids.
There it is. I was waiting for it. As soon as I dropped the baby, I was just waiting for the game.
I'm not dropping children. That was a joke. I'm not dropping children. I'm a great babysitter.
Mine isn't a joke.
I know yours. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. I need to see where the rest of that story is going.
Oh shoot! I just remembered there is one more game that I'm going to drop everything for. I won't elaborate because I already did my elaboration, but it's Live Alive. That's all I'm going to say.
I love that you love all these really old, obscure Japanese games that I've never heard of until Nintendo Directs.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about it. Actually, hold on. I think I have it here.
It was
Hold on. Yeah. I'm just dropping all the stuff, but I have this book here that I got from like Digital Game and Region Locked. It's based on a YouTube video series that they used to do. They kind of like more or less stopped it at this point, but it basically like touched on like a whole bunch of like games that didn't get localized, what they were about, what system were they on, and why they think they weren't localized, or if they have an actual exact reason, they'll put that as well. And Live Alive is one of the games that was on this book, as well as it got a YouTube video. And so when I heard about it, I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Then I heard it was getting HD 2D remake, so it was over. But again, that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm just very excited for that game.
If only all the HD 2D remakes looked as good as Octopath, but they don't.
They don't. They look good though.
Kelly or Gate, is there a game that you want to drop everything for?
I got 3 games. Forspoken. Because I mean, honestly, if you're not dropping everything for that game, then you just don't like open world gaming. The second Breath of the Wild game, I don't need a reason for that. It's Zelda.
Yeah.
And then the third one is, even though it's not confirmed for this year, but since Jarrell brought it up, it reminded me, the 2D HD remake of Dragon Quest 3. Because supposedly that's supposed to be one of the best Dragon Quests, and I've never played it, but it's like, might as well get into. I also use him for Smash, so I got to know his backstory.
That's true. You do.
And he also shows up in, what's the latest one called? Dragon Quest 11.
Oh, he's in there. Cool.
I'm not gonna go into it because it's spoilers, but
I just got spoiled on like a 20-year-old game like last month.
What game was it?
I don't want to talk about it.
No, but I just want to know what game it was.
No, because the person who spoiled me doesn't know that they spoiled me, and they watched the podcast and they're gonna find out.
Okay, after the podcast.
I'll tell you after. I was mad. So there's that.
Now.
It's been 20 years. I went 20 years. I'm probably exaggerating. It's probably like 15 years. The point is, never mind. Kelly, what is there a game that you would drop everything for?
I don't really think that anything's on the horizon for me personally, just because I don't really feel like gaming much lately. I just don't really care. I feel like that sounds so cynical, but it's true. Like nothing could really sell me right now. I don't know. Like there's a lot of games that were coming out, like Dying Light 2. I was super excited for it. I haven't played it.
Mm-hmm.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre game supposed to come out. That's the only thing that really comes to mind, but I don't even know when. I don't even know anything. Like I don't know. But I will say Dead by Daylight's new chapter, the Ringu one, that shit gave me nightmares. I watched gameplay and I had a fucking nightmare about the girl from The Ring last night. I literally woke up in like a full sweat. So maybe if something was to terrify me to my core like that, I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. And it's not even a new game. It's just that chapter, but that is literally probably the only thing. I'm probably going to have to play it because it literally gave me nightmares and I haven't even played it. I only watched it. So I can't imagine if I played it, I'm going to be like up half the night looking around my room.
Man, it's so crazy you say that because I saw on Twitter like people's reactions, like, you know, when you pick her and she like flies to the front of the screen. And I was like, why would they do that to anyone? It was like, so creepy, so scary. I think I would freaking have a heart attack.
It's horrifying.
As you guys know, I don't do scary games very well, so I feel like I would literally have a heart attack with something like that. So I wanna ask you guys something different because I feel like Kelly and I are kind of in the same position of just like gamers fatigue. There's not really anything that even the games that I love, like that I've been loving, I haven't found a reason to just stop what I'm doing and pick up and play them, unfortunately. And so I don't obviously I feel like Gabe and Brandon are probably going to feel the opposite about what I'm saying, which is also great because I feel like that would be wonderful for insight. But I guess I'll start with you, Kelly. When you have some type of like gamers fatigue, what do you do to deal with it? Do you just not play anything at all until something comes by, or do you try to play games and see if you can get that back? Like how do you deal with it? And I ask you specifically because I think you have an article in HPCritical about how Final Fantasy 14 got you back into gaming at a time that you were in kind of a little bit of a slump. So how do you handle something like, you know, just gamers fatigue in general?
I haven't played because games started feeling like work. Like we're talking about on a podcast, I'm writing articles. It just feels like work. Yeah. And I already work at work. So I don't really feel like working more, you know? So that's really what happened to me. And that's why the article that I wrote about Final Fantasy was because I kind of had stopped streaming and we were just playing it for fun. And I like when games are fun, you know, whenever you can stream something and it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
The last time that I played Final Fantasy 14, I was in this dungeon and this tank just kept pulling so much and I'm a healer. And I was just like, I'm over this. It feels like work. So I stopped and I haven't played since. I might have logged on once to do the mini cactpot or something, but like I'll just have to do something that doesn't feel like work. And it was the same thing with Halo. I was like grinding to get like that plat. And then I'm like, what am I doing this for? I'm just stressing about a video game. It's supposed to be what people do to relax. I'm not relaxed. So I think that probably for me is just going to be something not multiplayer.
That's what I was going to
like,
ask you.
Yeah, it's got to be, you know, something like I want to play that Dead by Daylight chapter, but it's so fucking toxic. I don't want to I just don't want to put myself through it. And I just haven't wanted to because it's work. Games are like hard. That's why I had been playing Animal Crossing because it's not hard. Just kind of fuck around. I don't want games to feel like work.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be work. It's supposed to be fun. So I think that's something for me would be like I don't know, like sometimes scary games are easy. Like the mechanics are easy because they're so scary. I'd rather like play Outlast, to be honest, because there's not much to do. You just run whenever something's chasing you, and that's it. Like you don't have to fight them. You know, it's not a constant. Like I was watching people playing Dying Light 2, and they're just hitting zombies like over and over with a pipe. I'm like, no, no, I don't want to do it. You know, so I think for me, the move is something like Animal Crossing or Just Dance or something that's just like no one's competition. There's no like, I don't know, just something easy. I think that's the only thing that would get me back and break me out of the funk, you know, because in the beginning of Final Fantasy 14, it didn't feel like work. I was just playing with you and David. I was having so much fun. There was no like competition. We were in the dungeons. Everybody was cool. And then some people were like being toxic, and I don't want to do like work. It's supposed to be fun.
Speaking of Final Fantasy 14, you can now play the trial again. It's available.
Yay.
Also, there's an update coming that will make the entire game single player through the use of AI characters in the story to be your tanks and your healers and your DPS, so that you can go through every single instance and play the whole game by yourself if you'd like.
That sounds amazing. I think I will do that.
It's on the horizon, so you don't have to sit in queue and wait for potential toxic players. So yeah, there's also a graphical update coming, and it's so funny because when I saw it, I was like, what about World of Warcraft? And then I remembered nobody likes Blizzard, so I was like, never mind.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. Gabe, if you were, because I feel like you're not, but if you were in some sort of gaming funk, what would you do to get out of it? Or would you just like, what's your process if you have?
I go out and play sports.
Okay. Does it?
No, yeah, it's like really like I'll play sports until like my body's like, yo, I want to be lazy again. And that's when I'm like, okay, well, I have fun playing video games, so I'm gonna sit my ass back down and not embarrass myself playing basketball with a bunch of people.
So games are like your lazy retreat, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, it's even when like, because I work I work 8 hours a day and my job is physical. So I guess that's why I don't really go into that funk as much anymore, is because my body, by the time I get home, it's like I want to stay awake because obviously I've wasted most of my day. We're gonna bleep that one out. But I get home, my body wants to relax, and like I want to either play video games or watch movies, but I watch the same movies over and over again. So I'm like, might as well play video games, get online, try and get better at one of them. But then on days like, on weekends, for example, that I don't feel like playing video games, I'm in that rut, I'll go out, I'll do something physical that'll tire because to me, a lot of my gaming ruts, whatever, they come from being overstressed and mentally tired. So when I start working, like when I start physically moving around and stuff, the tension kind of seeps out of the body because I'm getting more physically tired. I don't know if this is making sense to anybody, but this is how it works for me. I start getting more physically tired than I kind of stop paying attention to the stress. I'm like, let it go. It's time to relax. Just, and then I jump on video games and get mad at people I've never met online.
So essentially the consensus so far is that gaming is supposed to be fun and chill, right?
Yeah,
like that's like what we want to experience games for.
Yeah, like when I get my gaming ruts, it's not because I don't necessarily want to play anymore. It's kind of like I need to take a break from it before I end up, I'm not pointing fingers, before I end up like Kelly and I start feeling like, oh, this is a lot of fucking work. Like my mind kind of realized when I'm getting to that point, and like it'll snap automatically and be like, stop, be physical.
So you have an outlet that prevents you from getting to our point. Brandon, what about you? Do you even experience gaming ruts, Brandon? You just
he's gonna say yes, but I don't believe him. I don't believe him.
Never are sad about games.
It's incredibly rare. Like I may get like a rut where I don't want to play anything, maybe once every 3 or 4 years.
God.
What will instead what happens more often for me is like I'm working on a game on my backlog and I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't want to have to just keep working on the backlog. I just want to play something casual. So I'll do one of three things. I will either play a game I've already played before because I just want that familiarity so I can be incredibly relaxed, which there's nothing quite as, for me anyway, not quite as relaxing as playing a game you already know, even more so than other relaxing games like that are meant to be relaxing, like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing. But that's just me personally. So that would be one of those. I'll play just a game like that I'm just really enjoy a lot, like a Yu-Gi-Oh game or a Mario Kart game. Do some mindless races online and just be like, or I will just distance myself from gaming just altogether and just catch up on some movies or some books like the one I presented earlier. Just go through some pages. What really helps, and when I do get those really rare, just complete, I don't want to play shit ruts in like every 3 or 4 years. What usually gets me through that is like, besides reading, I will grab like one of my old pamphlets that I got like back in the day. Like I have like this pamphlet. I went like to Toys R Us back in like in 2003. And it had like all those like cool like GameCube and Game Boy Advance games that were like new that were coming out. I'll look at that, or a Nintendo Power magazine because I got a bunch of those still at home, and I'll just be like, what was gaming like during these times? And that in a weird way kind of reinvigorates me. I'll just be like, damn, games are pretty cool, huh? And then what ends up happening is I'll like track down one of those old games that I just read about and just start playing that. And then within a few days, my rut's cured and I'm back to just doing whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much my solutions. It also just helps that like, especially lately that I've been working like a lot, gaming like really, like Gabe mentioned, it really does feel like my salvation. It's easier to appreciate when you can't do it as much. It's a lot easier to take for granted when you have a lot of time to play them, because then you'll just be like, I'm surprised it didn't happen more often when I was furloughed, but I was blessed to have a good amount of RPGs that I really wanted to play, like Persona 5 Royal and FF7 Remake. If they hadn't come out, I don't know how 2020 would have been a very different year. Let's just say that.
Man, the best time of my life was I had gotten a surgery and I couldn't work for like a month, and it was literally just me playing Kingdom Hearts 3, I think it was, and I was like, oh, why don't I just stay home and like play video games for the rest of my life? This is like, I want to go back to work. It's bullshit. Yeah, like, I never want to go back to work. My issues, like what happens to me specifically is two things. One of them is when I finally have time to sit down and play a game, I can't decide what to play because my backlog is so big. So I'm like, damn, I'm really close to finishing this game. Should I just pick this one up and try to finish it? But also, shit, I want to go finish Pokemon. Like, I would really like to play more Pokemon. And then it's like, oh no, but Elden Ring's coming out. I would really like to pick that one up too. So I get really frustrated and then I just don't play anything because I can't decide on what to play. That's one of them. The other one is I have this really horrible like feeling of guilt, because if I get off of work, there's always something that needs to be done, like all the time, whether it's, chores, whether it's website, whether it's like there's always something. So I always stop myself from playing games because I feel like I have other responsibilities to tend to, and that makes me just not want to play them.
Yeah,
and
I definitely get that.
I guess, but literally this month, with us launching this new website, we have so many things going on. There's so many things going on at my job, like a bunch of personal life shit. Like I'm sitting down right now doing this podcast and I'm thinking about all the other things that I could be doing that are really important. Not that this is less important, because one of my releases is talking to you guys every week. So thank you for that. But I get into a space that's like, do I have time to play Final Fantasy 14 when I should be doing this or doing that, or checking socials, or making sure the website's okay, editing the latest article that just came out, and then I am going to work at 4 a.m. tomorrow. So it's also like, I should find some time to sleep as well. And so it just prevents me from playing games, and it's been really bad lately. So that's why I was asking, what you guys do to get over that. I still don't have a solution. I will literally just have to, a lot of times my friends will have to like force me to sit down and play a game with them. Otherwise, like I literally will not play anything. Like I actually usually after work, I put my phone away on Saturday, which is why if you guys message me on Saturday, I'm usually like very slow to respond, because Saturdays people literally force me to put my phone away and actually play a freaking video game. It's the only reason I got past the tutorial in Pokemon. I'm still in like the second area, which is ridiculous because this game has been out for so long. Like I have not gotten the what's the fish one that you ride on?
Rescue Legion.
I don't even know where you get that from. Whatever. I don't know where to even get that from. Like I'm still playing Yakuza Like a Dragon. That shit is so old. I haven't even finished. I haven't finished like Bravely Default 2, and one of my friends is yelling at me because I haven't finished Shadowbringers yet, and they want me to get to Endwalker, and they're still playing Final Fantasy 14. And I'm just like, oh. Yeah. So it's yeah, that's my personal issue that I'm trying to figure out a solution for. But for me, so far, it has just been to like put my electronics away, pick one game once I finally figure out what the heck it's gonna be, and just that day play that game. Like don't let anything distract me. And I know it does ease the sense of urgency for doing other things, because I know that throughout the week I'll be doing those things, and I'll have that one day to just be like, you know what, I've worked every day this week, I'm allowed to take a day off. Mm-hmm. So hopefully I'll be able to play some Elden Ring and some Triangle Strategy on Saturday if I allow myself to. That would be really nice because I want to play Elden Ring. I would love to see what this game looks like on a PS5, and I would also like to talk about Elden Ring. Oh, that's the other thing. When there's a game that has a lot of social the ability to talk with others about it, I'm losing all my words. Like Three Houses, for example, when Three Houses came out and like everyone's talking about what path they went down and what they did, like I feel like Triangle Strategy is going to be one of those, and so I definitely want to invest in being able to have those conversations with people about that game. Not that I'll have time to, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, I did say this was going to be a short podcast. I was going to talk about some other stuff, but I feel like this was a really good place for us to come back and just talk about, gaming fatigue, life, things in general, how they work out, and what we've been up to and where we're trying to go from here. So thank you guys, as usual, for being so candid with your conversations and how you're feeling, giving us a little bit of advice. I know this is a really short podcast, but for everyone listening, we'll get back to longer ones next week, because I'm also really sick, so don't judge me, because I stay sick. Thank you, Kelly, Brandon, and Gabe, as usual, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.